Dear students, today we are going to learn about our second chapter of Flamingo book. The title of this chapter is Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. This has been authored by Anish Jung. And let me tell you, this is an excerpt, you can say a piece of writing taken from a book titled as Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood, written by Anish Jung. Anish Jung is an Indian author. She belongs to Rourkela, Orissa. Most of her education was completed in Hyderabad. Thereafter, she went to some foreign institute. In the present chapter, she has depicted the abject poverty and poor living conditions, as well as the miserable plight of the poor children who are forced to labor at the very early stage of life. They are being deprived of their basic rights, they are being deprived from schooling and a better education. That's why they are forced to live a life of downtrodden society. The whole story revolves around the character of two boys, that is Sahib Alam and Mukesh. Though they belong to two different societies, but their ultimate plight is almost similar. Okay. The theme of this chapter is the plight of poor children. That is, they are forced to do labor, they are forced to do rag picking. And one more theme which runs parallel is that is the carelessness or an indifferent behavior of the responsible people of the society towards these poor class people and children, that is politicians, lawyers, policemen and some sahukars. They exploit these children to the great extent. That is what Anish Jung has tried to highlight through this chapter. Let us know about the introductory part. This is an excerpt from Anish Jung book Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. In this excerpt, Anish Jung expresses her concern over the exploitation of children in hazardous jobs like bangle making and rag picking. Abject poverty and thoughtlessness tradition, Anish Jung argues, result in the loss of childlike innocence and much needed play and education. Dear students, let me tell you, this lesson we have already read in detail. Today we are going to sum it up with the help of some key points. Okay, they will help you understand it and will enable you definitely to answer the questions based on this chapter. The first one, when Anish Jung encounters with a boy whose name was Sahib Alam. So she meets him first time when he was picking rags in the surrounding, and she asks about him, his identity. He explains about himself. He has come from Bangladesh, Dhaka with his family because there they were suffering from the living, that is, they were not having any source of living there. Their house were swept away and their fields and farms were destroyed. So they thought it better to shift to a place where they could earn their livelihood. So people from rural areas and like places like Dhaka shift or flee towards cities, big cities, where they can earn their livelihood by doing some labor work or picking up the rags. That's what happened with Sahib Alam. She meets him belonging to a refugee family from Bangladesh, questions him about his vocation of picking rags and advises him to go to school. Vocation means profession. She asks him what for he is picking rag, why he is not going to school. So he says there is no school built in his locality by the government authority. Once it is built, he will attend the school. She promises him that if she gets a school built for him, will he attend? He nodded, yes, he will. Sahib complains of lack of opportunity and absence of any school in his neighborhood. So she promises him. She raises Sahib's hopes of receiving education by promising to open a school in his neighborhood. वो बोलती है कि अगर मैं आपकी लोकेलिटी में एक स्कूल खोल देती हूँ तो क्या आप उसमें स्कूल में जाएंगे, और वो उसमें अपना एक्सेप्टेंस देता है, यस एग्रीमेंट, कि मैं स्कूल में जाऊँगा. feels impressed at making a promise that she cannot keep. So let me tell you, after some days when the author again meets Sahib, he asks same question, madam, have you opened the school, can I attend that school? So she got embarrassed. उसको बहुत शर्मिंदगी महसूस हुई ऑथर को कि मैंने इसको प्रॉमिस किया था एंड आई फेल टू कीप दैट प्रॉमिस. बट देयर आफ्टर शी थॉट दैट देर आर hundreds or thousands of such promises which are lying in their bleak world. means उनका जो डिजोलेट वर्ल्ड है, जो खाली दुनिया है, उसमें ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं जो उनसे इस तरह प्रॉमिस करते हैं और चले जाते हैं, कोई उन प्रोमिस को फुलफिल नहीं करता है. सो देयर इज एन आयरनी इन हिज नेम एंड एग्जिस्टेंस. सी हिज नेम इज साहिब आलम, विच इज द नेम ऑफ द अलमाइटी, ओके, द लॉर्ड ऑफ द यूनिवर्स. Whereas Lord of the universe is the one who creates this universe, who creates the creatures on this earth. Whereas Sahib Alam is doing a work of lowest level. So there is a contrast, there is an irony between his name and his actual work. उसका जो वास्तव में जो काम है और उसका जो नेम का जो मीनिंग है उसके बीच बहुत फर्क है. He spends time roaming and scrounging streets with other rag picker boys. Means उसका काम क्या है, इधर उधर घूमते रहना. एंड scrounging means searching for something in the garbage dumps. कूड़े के ढेर में कुछ सर्च करते रहना. All boys barefoot, reflecting extreme state of poverty. So this is an army, okay, of these rag pickers. वो सारे के सारे एक साथ जाते हैं मॉर्निंग में और जो स्लम एरिया है वहाँ पे रैग पिकिंग करते हैं कूड़े के ढेर में, और बाई द नून मीन्स दोपहर तक वो सब वहाँ से ऐसे गायब हो जाते हैं जैसे कि मॉर्निंग में बर्ड्स आए हों कुछ वहाँ पे फूड पिकअप करने के लिए, और उसके बाद में वो बाई द नून सारे के सारे बर्ड्स डिसअपीयर होते हैं. लाइक दैट these boys used to go that place and by noon they would disappear from that spot. All boys barefoot, reflecting extreme state of poverty. किसी के पैरों में चप्पल नहीं है means they were suffering from extreme state of poverty, abject poverty. Author observes that being barefoot has been an old tradition in poverty-stricken India. So Anish Jung has gone to various places of our country and she noticed that there are hundreds of people who are roaming barefoot in the streets and on the roads. When she questions this problem with the authorities, they simply say this is not because of the poverty, but this is their tradition to move around barefoot. This was something astonishing and surprising for the author. Author's reflection on passage of time and degree of prosperity achieved. It's reminded of a priest, a barefoot son in town of Udupi 30 years ago. So 30 years ago she went to a town in Udupi, Karnataka, and there she met a priest. Okay, एक टेम्पल के priest से मिलती हैं. She saw that time that उनका जो बच्चा है he was also roaming barefoot, means he was not having footwears, but he wished to have a pair of shoes, and for that he would pray in a temple while going to school. One day the goddess listened to his prayer and fulfilled his wish, that is, he could got a pair of shoes. When the boy's fervent wish to own a pair of shoes, thereafter, after 30 years later, only degree of prosperity visible, means at present day priest's son now wears shoes but rag picker still shoeless. Means yes, he could, वो जो टेम्पल का जो प्रीस्ट है उसके बच्चे को तो 30 साल बाद दिखाई दिया कि उसको तो फुटवेयर्स मिल गए हैं, लेकिन अभी भी हजारों ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो शूलेस या विदाउट फुटवेयर्स घूमते रहते हैं और रैग पिकिंग करते हैं. दिस इज द प्लाइट एंड यू कैन से द मिजरेबल कंडीशन, द पेनफुल कंडीशन अनीश जंग हैज ट्राइड टू हाईलाइट. Rag pickers abode is Simapuri, main place, the center point. Simapuri is the key area, the center point of, or you can say epicenter of rag pickers. Simapuri is a place near New Delhi, and there are almost 10,000 rag pickers who had fled from Bangladesh during Indo-Pakistan War of 1971. That time there was no border fencing, and people from Bangladesh fled to Indian capital to earn their livelihood, because that time there was hardly any source of earning the livelihood in Bangladesh. It was a war-torn area, you can say. Most refugees Bangladeshis fled their country in 1971. Their dwellings means residence, structures of mud, tin and tarpaulin with no sewage, drainage or running water. So in Simapuri, they are living in a very poor or filthy condition. That place is not worth living at all. Okay, means there is no drainage system, no fresh water for drinking, no drainage system, and they are living in the houses which are having roof of tarpaulin or some thatched roof. These structures are of mud. Okay, कच्चे मकान हैं. Only boon, that is valid ration card enabling them to buy. They don't have any identity also. They don't have any identity, but they have some ration cards and voter IDs, and once they have become voters for the politicians, yes, they will get all these facilities, at least that is food. They can get the food. No other facilities are available to them. They are happy to live in an alien land, means a place away. Alien means separate place which provides food grain than in their motherland without grain. Means in Bangladesh there was a dire scarcity of food grain. So they fled from there and they are happy living here. At least they are getting some food grain on the ration cards, and they can earn their livelihood also by doing rag picking in the area surrounding New Delhi or Delhi. Picking garbage and rags earn them their daily bread, roof, livelihood and means of survival. Means this rag picking is a source of survival for them, for the elders, and this is somewhat for the children it is something wrapped in wonder. Okay, so sometimes उनको 1 रुपये का coin मिलता है, कभी वो 10 रुपये का 10 rupees का note मिलता है. So they feel very happy doing this in Simapuri. Picking garbage and rags earns them their daily bread. Yes, a chance rupee note or coin is garbage sustains hope and life in children. So whenever they get a coin or a 10 rupee note, they keep on scrounging in the hope that they will get some more. Okay, they will get some more. उनको और वहाँ पे मिलेगा नोट्स या coins. इसी होप में वो वहाँ पे rag picking कंटिन्यू करते रहते हैं. He has a eternal yearning, means he is having a strong desire of doing something, that is to be comfortably off, enjoy pleasure of childhood. He wants to enjoy the pleasure of childhood, but the utter poverty has destroyed everything. It has curtailed his wishes to nothing. Okay, he can't enjoy his childhood because he is pushed in the work of labor, that is labor work and rag picking. He wants to play tennis and wear shoes, means he has seen some people playing tennis in the nearby area. He yearns to play tennis because he is fond of that game. He watches that game from a distance, that is from the boundary wall, and sometimes he gets chance to enter that court, that indoor stadium there with the help of the guard or the watchman. There he tries to enjoy that place, but he can't play tennis because that is a costly game and he can't afford the equipments for that game. Moreover, he doesn't have kit or shoes to wear for tennis playing. There is a conflicting step forward, means now he has give up. He has given up his job of doing rag picking, and now he has joined a new job at a tea stall. He earns 800 rupees and meals for himself from that tea stall. This tea stall owner uh, has given him a task of carrying or fetching the milk from somewhere and cleaning the utensils. He encounters author while fetching milk in steel canister for tea stall. So one day when Anish Jung was passing through that way near to the tea stall, she encountered him. She asked him what he was doing, where he was doing. That time he was holding a steel canister, a container, steel container to carry milk. So he told the author that he had joined a tea stall, and there he was earning this much money and some meal for himself. She asked him whether he was happy with that job. So he said no, he was not happy because he was no more his own master. Apparatus burdened and forlorn means appears burdened and forlorn. Now he is working under somebody's command. Okay, he is no more his own master. He is not free to do his job according to his own will and wish. Rather, he has to obey the command and orders of his tea stall owner. So he is not happy there. He is no more a free bird and master of his own self. Now he is a bonded labor with surrendered freedom, means his freedom is almost gone. This is about the life of Sahib Alam. And there is one more boy whose name is Mukesh. So Mukesh belongs to Firozabad, a city in Uttar Pradesh, and that is an epicenter of Bengal making. Okay, there are the Bengal making or manufacturing industries. He is a child labor in a glass factory in Firozabad, and he is a victim of age old tradition, which is his liability to carry on. Okay, his liability is to carry on that age old tradition, and this is a God given lineage. People think like that, he can't leave it so easily. He wished to be a motor mechanic, wants to learn to drive a car. His family is unaware that child labor is illegal and banned by law. Still, they are forced in doing child labor. Like him, there are hundreds of children who are doing the same work in the dim light of the furnaces near which they are working. Working conditions of glass furnaces, important question. High temperatures, dingy, ill lit cells means there is dim light, light is not sufficient. That's why they lose their vision at the early stage of life. Poorly ventilated means there is no circulation of fresh air, they are poorly ventilated. Because of that, they suffer the lung diseases also. Children lose eyesight at an early age because of the dim light they are working in. Living conditions in Firozabad are also very poor. The stinking lanes choked with garbage. Stinking lanes means a foul smell, a bad smell in the lanes, in the streets. The garbage is choked there. There is no free flow of dirty water in the drainage system, and it is stranded there. It has stagnated there, and stagnated water emanates foul smell after some time. Houses with crumbling walls means walls are of a, that is dirty condition, dilapidated condition. Walls are in dilapidated condition, they are almost destroyed. Wobbly doors and no windows, shaking doors, उनके डोर्स हिलते हैं, विंडो उनमें है नहीं. वॉल्स की कंडीशन बहुत ख़राब है. नॉट फ्रेशली पेंटेड. ह्यूमन्स एंड एनिमल्स बोथ लिव टुगेदर इन दीज hovels. सो सभी इसमें एक साथ रहते हैं. थैच्ड रूफ हैं, ग्रासी रूफ हैं, टीन शेड बनी हुई हैं, और कंडीशन है वो बहुत ही पीटीएबल है, मिजरेबल है. ऑन मुकेश pleading, that is, he requested the author to visit his house. So she goes to his house and looks at the situation there. Mukesh's house, a half-built shack with thatched dead grass roof and a wobbly iron door. आधा टूटा फूटा घर जिसके ऊपर ग्रास की रूफ है और हिलते हुए आयरन डोर है। Firewood, stove, aluminium utensils means they are the items lying on the floor there. House is 3 generations: grandmother, father, elder brother, and his wife. These were the members found in his house. Elder brother's wife was responsible for family members' welfare and cooking. Means she was responsible, liable for cooking the food, looking after the old people in the house. Observes custom of covering face with evil in front of male elders. Means she is covering her face. चेहरे पे पर्दा है, बिकॉज दिस वॉज द कस्टम, एज ओल्ड कस्टम विच शी वॉज कैरिंग फॉरवर्ड. Mukesh father was the head of the family. He was poverty stricken. He was also employed in the job of bangle making. He is unable to renovate house or provide education to 2 sons. They are so poor and poverty stricken that his father is unable to uplift their education, their social status. Even he is unable to build a good house or renovate a house for them. Only legacy he can hand over to the art of bangle making. Means he doesn't have anything other than the profession of bangle making. That is, he can train his son to manufacture bangles only. Mukesh's grandmother's views about life. What she says, this is somewhat astonishing. She says that it is a कर्म, it is a result of कर्म. Okay, ये कर्म है उनके, डेस्टिनी है, भाग्य है, जो उनको ये काम करना ही है और करना पड़ रहा है. She has quietly accepted her husband's blindness caused by dust or glass bangles. Mukesh's grandfather, before he died, he became blind because of the dim light, dust, and the dirty atmosphere of bangle making industry. Believes in art of bangle making to be God given. She says that is a God given lineage. Okay, भगवान की दी हुई परंपरा है ये, और ये काम है और नो वन कैन ब्रेक इट, कोई भी इसको छोड़ नहीं सकता. सो बैंगल मेकिंग इज टू बी कंटिन्यूड. बर्थ इन कास्ट ऑफ बैंगल मेकर्स अनइस्केबली डेस्टिनी. सो इट इज बिलीव्ड दैट poverty and lack of education led to a vicious circle. Children follow elders' footsteps and join bangle making profession. Means सभी को यही काम करना है जो उनके पूर्वजों ने किया है. Eyes more adjusted to darkness than light. अब उनको काम करते करते इतने वो आदती हो गए हैं उस काम के कि उनकी आंखें भी लाइट को कम बल्कि उस अंधेरे में काम करना ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं, उससे एडजस्ट हो गई हैं. Eventually become sightless even before attaining adulthood. सो बड़े होने से पहले ही उनका जो आई साइट है, जो विजन है, वो चला जाता है, अंधे हो जाते हैं. आयरनी इन परसेप्शन. बैंगल इज ए सिंबल ऑफ सुहाग, हस्बैंड्स लॉन्ग लाइफ. सो डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आई थिंक ओके, सो बैंगल is a suhag in our tradition, that is according to our religion. Bangle is a suhag of a married lady, but the young girl who was making bangle in that house was not aware of this piousness, that is sacred attachment of these bangles. They were symbol of the piousness of or a married life, you can say. Eventually all girl child laborers will become brides one day, will wear same bangles but lose eyesight. Means उनकी जो मैरिज होने से पहले उनकी आई साइट खत्म हो जाएगी और मैरिज में ही बैंगल पहनते हैं. दैट इज द सिंबल ऑफ सुहाग अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर कस्टम एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू रिलीजन. बिकम ओल्ड विद बैंगल्स ऑन रिस्ट, sightless eyes and empty stomachs. Time stands still in Firozabad. Means no progress. There is no progress. Time is still there. Okay, no progress at all, no development, and they are busy in their mind-numbing hard work of making bangles for the years and centuries. Poverty, illiteracy, dissatisfaction prevails there. All laborers victims of middlemen and touts. Means the labor work is working there belong to the poor people. They are the victims of middlemen. साहूकारों के विक्टिम है वो, उनकी वजह से उनको ये काम करना पड़ रहा है. Getting organized into a cooperative society, a way out. If somebody asks them why don't they get in cooperative society, why don't they organize themselves? They say that if they do so, they will be hauled up by the police. The police will drag them to the police stations. They will push them behind the bars. They will be beaten there because that would be a crime on their part. So they never dare to do so. They are caught in a vicious circle of poverty, indifference, greed, injustice, which is meted out to them. And this is all because of the upper class people who are exploiting these people. And these are saukars, that is, lawyers, and politicians. Children victim of two worlds. These children are victim of two worlds. That is, they are born in a poverty-ridden family. First one, with the stigma of caste. जिस कास्ट में पैदा हुए वही काम उनको करना है. सेकंड इज they are victims of sahukas, middlemen, policemen, bureaucrats, and politicians. So these are the two problems they are being victimized of. There is no courage in them to get themselves cooperative, organized in a cooperative society. Their desire to dream and dare snubbed in childhood means they can never dare to dream of becoming something better or uplifting their social status, leaving their एज ओल्ड ट्रेडिशनल जॉब. वो अपने काम को छोड़ के दूसरे काम की तरफ सोच भी नहीं सकते हैं. Mukesh is different from all of them because he has dreamt of becoming motor mechanic. He wants to change his that is family tradition of making bangles. And the author asks him whether he has ever dreamt of flying aeroplanes. So ironically he says no, never, but there are few planes fly over Firozabad. Means if he wished he could do that also, because dreams are the rights of everybody and one can make the dreams come true. This is all about this chapter. We will discuss the questions and answers in the next. Thank you.